By definition, food security is the condition in which all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. Unfortunately, that is not the reality for hundreds of millions of people on a global scale, especially those individuals who live in poverty-stricken countries. There are many factors which are considered threats to food security, but there is one big problem. We'll focus on the Caribbean with this big factor and look at just how much of a problem it could be for the more than 40 million of us who reside in the region. Since the year 1880, Earth's temperature on a global scale is estimated to have increased by around a degree Celsius. Many would think it's very insignificant, but that very small increase in temperature over the last century or so has had its major negative consequences. An increase in temperature can make various weather systems more intense, and in this video, we'll be diving into a few of these occurrences and how they threaten food security. If you've been a Weather Extras watcher for some time now, you know that I usually include a question related to these breakdown videos and then discuss the answer later on. The question of the video is, which two Caribbean countries are the main exporters of sugar? We'll discuss it soon. Hurricanes, droughts, floods. These are common phenomena which happen across the Caribbean based on the time of year, but there have been some years when they've been very intense. Recent powerful hurricanes to strike the Caribbean islands include major hurricanes Irma and Maria of 2017. Back then, 81% of buildings in Antigua were damaged or destroyed, but the island of Barbuda to the north suffered significantly as it took a direct hit and was rendered temporarily uninhabitable. In total, millions in economic losses. Maria ravaged the islands just around 2 weeks after Irma's passage and brought intense storm surge, extremely heavy rainfall, and strong winds. Maria then went on to batter the island of Puerto Rico, and everywhere was plunged into darkness amid the life-threatening floods and Category 4 force winds. The agricultural sector suffered more than US $700 million in damages, and nearly 3,000 lives were lost. Since then, there have been weaker hurricanes, tropical storms, and depressions which have brought their impacts, mostly in terms of rainfall and consequently, flooding and mudslides. The excess water is an enemy to crops as the soil becomes waterlogged, which may allow diseases to thrive and eventually kill them. Livestock may also be harmed either directly or indirectly by intense floods. They may be washed away in floodwaters, or their source of drinking water may become contaminated, thus causing waterborne diseases to spread among them. Floods may also wash away topsoil, which is often rich in nutrients, thus resulting in less fertile land for crop cultivation. Due to these effects, farmers may suffer significant losses, and as a solution, may heighten prices of produce which buyers may be unable to afford. On a large scale, this results in some degree of food insecurity. Droughts also significantly threaten food security as extensive periods without substantial rainfall will affect irrigation. The already increasing temperatures globally, coupled with very little rainfall, allow water bodies such as rivers to dry up. As a result, there is slowed crop growth and reduced yields when it is time to harvest the produce, and enough may not be available to meet the demands of the growing population, which may affect the health of individuals since they may lack a particular nutrient. As a result, deficiency diseases become a problem, especially in young children and the older population. Pests which thrive in drought conditions may further worsen impacts, as many crops already suffering from slowed growth may become damaged and unsuitable for consumption. This will add more weight to the scale of food insecurity. The increase in temperatures will also result in the endangerment of some temperature-sensitive species of plants and animals. Fish is consumed in large quantities across the Caribbean, but warmer waters may cause them to migrate elsewhere that would be more suitable for them to live, taking them out of the zone of physiological stress and back into optimal conditions. A reduction in fish will then result in loss of biodiversity and affect the food supply, as fisherfolk will also be significantly impacted with reduced income to care for themselves and their loved ones, and may have to pursue other endeavors to combat losses. Individuals with strict diets, such as pescatarians, would have a harder time meeting their dietary needs, as there would be a reduction in protein consumption. Though these are all possible scenarios that may have already taken shape to some degree in some countries, all hope is not lost, as mitigation measures can help prevent a significant disruption in food supplies. Some of these measures are already being practiced across the Caribbean region and are even a part of our culture. For example, in many homes across Jamaica, it's a common practice to have at least one type of tree planted, such as banana or plantain trees, ackee trees, plum trees, etc. Having a garden with produce commonly consumed by members of the household will help to offset shopping expenses and aid in ensuring food security. The practices of crop rotation and the use of organic fertilizers such as manure are also ways to ensure food security. While chemical fertilizers may help to quickly boost production, runoff may seep into water bodies and become a threat to the aquatic world, as fish within that area may be harmed or killed by said chemicals. Additionally, it will only contribute to an increase in greenhouse gases, which essentially help to increase global temperatures. Another mitigation measure is the enforcement of policies and support from the government. An example of this is the drought experienced in Barbados in 2008 and 2009. Prior, there was a drought back in 1997 that took its major toll on the agricultural sector, and since measures were implemented to combat the effects of droughts, the country was not as significantly impacted that time around. The takeaway is that the increased heating of the planet is certainly a threat to food security, not only for the Caribbean, but also on a global scale, and measures that are already being initiated should be boosted to ensure that our food supplies are secured. Now, do you have an answer to the question asked a couple of minutes ago? Let's go back to it. It asks, which two Caribbean countries are the main exporters of sugar? They are Jamaica and Guyana. Did you get it right? Share with me in the comments. Hundreds of tons of sugar are exported to other Caribbean countries and elsewhere across the world, and the sugar industry dates back many centuries ago and became a main part of the Caribbean's economy in recent centuries. I hope that you learned something new from this video and found it to be quite informative. Have a great rest of your day, and see you soon!